And there really is a strong smell of it here. Better than the smell of tear gas. So we're still here, Facebook Live from the Bangkok Post. My name is Dave Kendall. Hope you're safe and well wherever you're joining us from. We are outside the criminal court in Bangkok at the end of a march from the Lat Pral 5-way intersection. And the protest is to demand the freeing of 4 protest leaders who were denied bail after they were charged with lèse majesté, disrespecting the monarchy. Now we can hear a little pile of garbage. It's definitely a symbolic. We didn't really know what to expect. I was kind of expecting 5 or 10 garbage trucks to come out and spill out their contents. This is definitely more symbolic. But it's definitely a kind of symbolism which could get the protesters into trouble. The contempt of court law is very, very strict in Thailand. It includes showing any kind of disrespect or disagreement with court rulings. And it includes criticism and also any kind of sarcastic remarks about the legal system. So obviously pouring garbage in front of the criminal court is an action that might be seen as being somewhat contemptuous. As they were setting fire to the pile of garbage, the police were certainly taking video clips of the people, of the protesters responsible. So we can expect many more charges are in the offing after this latest protest. One of 4 protests today here in Bangkok. Once again, the protesters shouting, "Bloy Puan Rao, free our friends." Talking about Somyot, Harit, Morlam, Bank, and Anon Nampa, the lawyer. These are the 4 that has drawn this crowd. Protesters feeling that it's very unfair that they weren't given bail, given that their applications for bail were pretty much identical, including the required confirmation of a permanent residence. Basically, they were asked to submit the same documentation that the PDRC leaders were, but the yellow shirt leaders were given bail.
Well, it did help that they were cabinet ministers.
Yeah,
some of them.
Sure, they had juice.
This wire is gonna be the death of us one day. Did you find out what was that their list of demands on the portrait?
Dear, what do you think that poster says? Poster that's propping up against the king's portrait. Is it a list of demands?
But a lot of these, they'll put out like an official statement that kind of.
ถูกต้องครับถูกต้องครับอย่าปีนขึ้นไปครับอย่าปีนขึ้นไปถ้าเอาสีแดงกับใครน่ะโดนจับให้เอาป้ายลงครับแล้วไม่ให้เขาลงเองไม่เอาแล้วเขาลงเองคุณไม่ต้องปีนขึ้นไปไม่ต้องปีนขึ้นไปอย่าปีนขึ้นไปนะครับ
Yeah, no one actually brought out rotten eggs.
No, I did see some rotten eggs on the sidewalk over there.
Oh, really?
Just 2 or 3 of them. They were pretty lonely, pretty people.
All right. It's a lot less Joker than I thought I was going to be today.
Can I give you the mic while I wring the sweat out of my mask?
Go for it. This one write about the court. Use the power of the court to put the innocent people to the jail.
Say that again, dear.
This man, this say about the court use its powers to put innocent people in jail. Yeah. Okay.
Does that count as contempt of court? It could.
What, this poster? Probably. You wanted? I have some extra disposable masks. If you want one, you want a fresh one.
That was just a metaphor for me asking for a break.
Oh, okay. The police are pulling down the sign. The protesters are now getting a little. The energy is going up in the crowd. Maybe we will see some movement. But all in all, far less Joker than I was predicting.
Well, the night's not over yet.
Yeah, we're at a Jack Nicholson Joker right now. I think it's going to be ways to go to get the Heath Ledger or even the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. I haven't seen any. Oh, sorry. I haven't seen any Myanmar flags like there was at the last protest. The last protest was kind of like a solidarity march.
Right. Now, this is pretty much a sea of red. It's definitely the Redem symbology that is most in evidence here.
I'll have to find out more about the Redem movement. Do you think they would like to reinstall Thaksin as the leader? See what these.
I'm sure some would. I mean, the Red Shirt movement was originally very closely associated with the exiled former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. But I think a lot of people have moved on since then.
Thaksin's just hanging out in Dubai. He was on Clubhouse the other day.
Yeah, he was. So he was getting a huge audience on Clubhouse, wasn't he? Which, since you can only invite 2 people at a time, meant that he definitely went viral.
Oh, so like you can invite 2 people and they can invite 2 people?
Yeah.
I don't have an iPhone, so I'm left out of this whole newfangled technology.
You haven't made it to the dark side yet.
No, I used to be an iPhone guy, but I don't know.
So this march started at 5. Well, the event started at 5 and the march actually kicked off from the Hayek Latprao intersection, the 5-way intersection, at 6 p.m. It's now 7:45 p.m. here in Thailand, and the event was supposed to officially end at 9.
Okay.
Of course, Will, as you know, last Sunday, the end time is quite flexible.
Yeah. When the hotheads take over. I did see some children in the crowd. I don't know if it would be
some kids?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the best advice to bring a small child. If there might be tear gas or rubber bullets.
Rubber bullets, really.
There's some monks. There's been a few protests where monks spoke and gave speeches. I think they were reprimanded.
But I think relatively few compared to Myanmar. Monks in Myanmar seem to be much more politically active on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, for good and for ill.
นี่ไงยืนอยู่นี่ไงไอ้นายหีไอ้นายหี
Probably shouldn't translate.
No, that is not going to be translated.
ไม่ต่ำนายังหียังบ้าหีไอ้ตา
ได้เอาโทรโขงดูดิยืนหน้านิ่งกูนึกว่าตึงโบท็อกกูนึกว่าตึงโบท็อกอยู่หน้าตึงเลยอ๋อฟอร์มาลีนเอาไม่อยู่ไอ้เหี้ยขังไปก็อ้าวไอ้พวกที่ฆ่ามึงดู
You were saying there wasn't much evidence of the opponents of the Myanmar coup here. There's a notice over there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Don't ignore injustice. Save Myanmar, save Thailand. The death toll has been a lot heavier in Myanmar. Over 50 people killed already since the coup on February the 1st.
I think the only person who died in Thailand was that police officer last night or last Sunday who got a heart attack.
Yeah, so far the protests have been, certainly the loss of life has been minimal in Thailand. That's not always the case in the past. Many people lost their lives in 1976, 1992, and of course amongst the red shirts in 2010. We were talking earlier about protest movements that did seem to be effective. The red shirt protests did seem to have a result. I mean, the Abhisit Wejariwa government, the Democrat government, was eventually overthrown. An election was held, and Yingluck Shinawatra was elected as Prime Minister of Thailand. Until a court ruling in 2014 first removed her from the premiership over a corruption charge. That was followed a few weeks later by the military coup that installed General Prayut Chan-o-cha to the premiership that he still holds.
He dodged a court case himself recently.
He did. The last time I was covering a protest at Lat Pral intersection was the day that the Constitutional Court ruled that he had not violated, he had not broken the law by continuing to live in an army residence after he left the army.
I am very curious what his house looks like, or residence in the army base. Do you think it's, Spartan looking, or there's, very nice countertops and appliances?
I think there's mood lighting, perhaps a few dancing nymphs.
Living in an army base sounds bad in most circumstances, unless probably the general's quarters, or he was living there as a general and then just continued to live there.
Yeah, and the arguments that in his defense were that at one point it was his new residence hadn't been finished yet. Another was it wasn't safe for him he needed to be in the army compound for his own security. And another reason given for the ruling was actually that he had been of service to Thailand, and therefore he shouldn't be penalized. He had the right to stay there.
I heard from an inside source that the prime minister residence that they have for prime ministers is haunted. There's a lot of ghosts there, so prime ministers don't actually like living there.
Is this from a credible source?
Maybe not. I don't know. This is what I've heard, and I've gotten.
It could be a reason.
I've gotten people to not. Not fully confirm it, but I've heard it's not popular with prime ministers, and it might be because there's ghosts.
So once again, the protesters are shouting, "Bloy Pern Rao, free our friends." And they're also saying, "Cancel Law 112, which is the Section 112 of the Criminal Code, the lèse majesté law.
Little cancel culture.
Cancel culture, yeah.
อย่าเรียกเขามาด้านต้องเรียกว่าขอดรีดยังสู้ไม่ได้ขนมรีดยังสู้ไม่ได้ทำเป็นจ้ะนาประเทศ
It's 902, 907. The lady who was yelling had some 902, 907. I don't know what that means. So 904 equals IO? Does that mean information operation? You see Facebook took down a bunch of Thai Army accounts that were active in the Deep South.
Yeah, that supposedly were. They got taken down because of deceptive behavior. In other words, they were pretending to be authentic accounts when they were actually run by the army.
Well, we got more our viewer counts going up. Got 500.
Of course, the armed forces denied any involvement in the accounts.
If you're just tuning in, folks, we are at the courthouse, the criminal courthouse on Ratchapisek Road. There's a few thousand people gathered here to protest the jailing of 4 protest leaders who have been denied bail. As so far, things have been very peaceful, but there's a lot of expectation that tonight will be chaotic and violence following what happened on Sunday, where many. Oh, sorry, this wire. Sorry, God. I gotta be like attached to deer at the hip. If you don't mind, I'll just touch your shoulder. Maybe they'll get the wrong idea. But, yeah, I remember. I don't know. It's weird how these Facebook audiences work, because like it seems like people knew when things were about to go crazy, because our viewers just shot up right as, you know, the police and the protesters were like just starting to clash, and we got up to like, you know, 1,000, 2,000 people.
And wasn't that just going viral? People seeing it and sharing it on their feeds?
Yeah, probably. And then I guess people seeing, you know, clips on social media and then tuning into the live.
Right. Yeah, if you want some background to the entire protest movement, not only this one outside the criminal court today, there's very comprehensive coverage on BangkokPost.com.
Is almost peerless now.
Yeah,
we're cornering the English language Thai news market.
Yeah, one of our smaller rivals, Khao English, announced today that they were ceasing to exist. Khao Thai, of course, will continue. But
we're never going to get the update on Haiso Jimmy. Which I saw. I think Khao English. I thought was the only one who was reporting about that. You know Haiso Jimmy? It was sort of like a Boss Red Bull situation, but this Thai police captain who's in his 20s ran over a fishbowl salesman with a BMW on Tonglo, and he fled the scene of the accident and totaled his car and killed the guy. And then the police were basically said that it's going to take weeks to get the alcohol test, and then no follow-up ever by anybody. But yeah, I only saw it in Khao English, but it was like very crazy story. Oh no, someone threw a paper airplane. Things are starting to heat up. I'm kidding. Things have been pretty calm for the past few hours.
yeah, we were wondering if there was going to be trouble tonight. A police officer did lose his life after the demonstration last Sunday, so there were some worries that some of the authorities might want some revenge or feeling angry. But everything's been pretty restrained so far. Protesters haven't hurled any projectiles. We thought that they were going to be hurling rotten eggs and what else did they say? Chili peppers?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Paint? There's been nothing flying through the air, basically, apart from insults to mainly to Prayut and chants to free the 4 protesters who were denied bail on lèse majesté charges.
Some graffiti. Oh, got it. Yeah, there's even some children in the crowd, which is not the best idea. Protesters have sat down.
This is the chant that we've heard most tonight. Loi Pern Rao, free our friends. The 4 protest leaders who were denied bail after being charged for lèse majesté over an event that happened on September the 19th. It was a march from Thammasat University to Sanam Luang, and the lèse majesté charges were based on speeches that they made at that event. So, 2 requests for bail were refused for these 4 protest leaders. And a lot of the anger of the protesters is based on what they see as double standards after some of the yellow shirt leaders were given bail, having been arrested on terrorism and insurrection charges.
What's always crazy to me is cabinet members come and go, but never the deputy agriculture minister. He's always there, Tamanat, who spent 4 years in Australian prison for heroin trafficking. He's
Watch out for that criminal defamation law, Mr. Will.
Oh. That's a touchy one? Yeah, I'll just defer the matter to the Australian embassy. Did not change their stance on that particular news item. You see, they recently brought the criminal defamation law against the, I guess it was a Thai person who complained about their quarantine hotel and said there was roaches.
Yes, that's right.
There's roaches in the food.
And he had a lot of photographic evidence of these. He had unless it was a setup, of course. Like, there are ways to fake a photo.
Caught a roach.
It was kind of a dessert with a roach leg sticking out of it.
But truth is no defense in the
truth is no defense for criminal defamation. The measure of whether you're guilty or not is, was it inappropriate to make the news known, whether it was true or not? And of course, as we know, losing face and saving face in Asia is a huge deal. About personal honor. So if a court judges it was inappropriate to tell the truth, you can go to jail for that.
Doesn't make our job easy.
Indeed.
Hasn't there been some foreign reporters who kind of fell on their own sword in Thailand and had to leave the country over defamation law?
There was a Bangkok Post reporter, who made an allegation, I believe, about an academic, and his academic credentials.
No.
And I don't want to talk about. I don't know the details of the case.
There was also the
I do know that she actually had to flee the country, I believe, over the border to Cambodia to get out.
I do think about that every now and then. Maybe have a day bag packed. It makes it hard during COVID though, because it'd be hard to cross land borders.
True. Well, apart from the fact that the latest outbreak was supposedly brought in by Myanmar migrant laborers sneaking across the border. But
the 500 baht boat ticket across the river. That guy's pretty Joker looking. In the red. In the red mask. He's pretty Joker looking. It's the most Joker thing I've seen all day.
oh man, I am severely low bat. I need a swig of coffee. I'm going to leave it to you, Will, for a few minutes.
All right. Talk into space. Are you going to the monks are leaving the scene. Not a lot of trash either. I was expecting more garbage and more, and maybe a few rotten eggs, like was promised on the promotional material. Sleepy. Coffee too. How you doing, dear? Huh? Do you need a break from a break? Okay, sounds good. All right, folks, we're gonna cut the stream real quick, but we should be on in 10-20 minutes. Hopefully, when things start heating up. Not because we want them to, but because it looks very good on video. All right, bye, folks. We'll be back.